The mysterious, the macabre, the out of this world. The following are real people. They have real stories, and they've had real encounters. Here tonight on Newsworthy, two words and two question marks.
He's alive! Have you checked the children? Get out!
Hello, and welcome to Encounters. Tonight we talk with four members of the Spiritual Sleuth Paranormal Group. What started as a great way to spend family time has become a very scientific paranormal research team, and all of them have their own encounters. Tonight on Newsworthy, two words, two question marks. Hello, guys. We are with Olivia today from Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal. This is actually Danny's daughter, and what a great way to build a great bond with father and dad is to go hunting ghosts, right?
Yeah.
So, just to start real quick, this is our second try at this, right, Olivia?
Yeah.
The very first time, and I just want to put it out there because it was really creepy. I actually introduced Olivia as Brian's daughter, and of course her dad here, Danny, he's like, no, I'm Danny, but Brian is my passed away brother. So, wow, what a creepy experience. So, Olivia, you were going to tell us about a cool story that happened to you.
Yeah, I kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that happened at Fairfield Infirmary in Lancaster, Ohio. So we've never really, we obviously have been here before, but I think the first time we went, I don't know how, it was, I think about a month ago, and we did a flashlight tour. We've obviously never been here before. I remember we were walking in, and I think it was the first room that we went in. It was, I don't know what room it's called, but we call it the creepy doll room because it's just filled with a bunch of dolls. And I hate dolls.
So does my wife. She hates dolls.
Yeah.
Hates them.
And so we were walking in, and I was caboosing. I hate caboosing, but
That's like
it has to happen
rear.
all
Is
the
that
time.
what that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my dad was actually in front of me, and he was holding all the equipment because I didn't want to carry anything. And we were walking down the hallway to go into the creepy doll room. This was the first experience we had. He turned into the room, and I was standing behind him, and I felt something run up on me. Yeah, I don't know if you know that feeling, but when you feel something behind you.
Right.
We heard it too. So we both at the same time, we turn around to see if there was anything there. There was nothing there. But he steps out of the creepy doll room because he's already in it, and I'm still in the hallway. And we both look back in the creepy doll room, and we hear a woman singing and a piano playing.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know a lot of history about this place yet before we went because we didn't get a tour because it was a flashlight tour, so we didn't really know that much history about it. And when we were there last night, I asked a question. I'm like, hey, do you hear people singing a lot? Is that something that they catch on camera? And they're like, yeah. So I don't know what that was. We caught something on camera though, so that was pretty fun. I think we were live too. So
what is you've been doing this for several years with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
What's the one time that sticks in your mind that's like, oh, I can't believe that happened?
Ooh, I have this one story, but I still don't know if it's paranormal or not. And we were actually at Eloise Asylum, and I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in Michigan. And
It's just outside of Detroit.
All right, it was Detroit,
Well,
Michigan.
that explains a lot.
Yeah. And we did a public because we haven't been here before. We like to do publics before we rent privates to see how it's gonna react. And we get there, and our tour guide, she kind of put us in one room for us to ghost hunt in that they usually got a lot of activity in. And it was me and my dad. We were sitting on the floor, and we had a laser grid set up facing out of the doorway. I don't remember what room it is either because I just can't think.
Sure.
And we had a REM pod setting around the door. I think it was like a doctor's office or something. And we were asking it if it can show us a sign, and we had our phone boxes actually, ghost tube, and it was like coming across like really accurate and like giving us like questions that we were asking. It was like answering them.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So this is like an intelligent, like your dad was talking about.
Yeah, and we had 2 of them set up, and they were like, yeah, it was pretty cool, and there were 2 different apps as well. I don't remember what the other one is. I just can't remember anything today.
Okay.
And we were asking if something can show itself, and the laser grid, it started to flicker, and I like that's crazy because we just charged the batteries and everything, so it shouldn't have been flickering. And at the same time, the REM pod turns to, I think it was purple, the highest color it can get.
Oh, wow.
And I see a head, a full head. It looked like a full body, just peek around the corner. It was just the head though.
Oh jeez.
I'm the only one who saw it, but my dad said he couldn't see it. But I swear to this day, it wasn't, like, I don't think it was a person, because I was like, okay, I gotta go check it out. There was nobody down the hallway that I saw. But still, I can't be 100% sure, but I think that's the creepiest thing I've seen.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So tell us about, so for someone who doesn't hunt ghosts, tell us about some of the equipment that you guys use.
All right. One of the most famous things that, you probably hear about is the REM pod. It basically just detects like EMF, around. The closer you get, the different colors it changes, and you can like ask it questions. So like, change it to yellow if it's a yes, change it to green if it's a no, and they can kind of get like closer, and it can tell you that it has different settings. You can turn the temperature on, so it can tell you if it's getting colder or hotter. That comes in handy, especially if you're like inside somewhere. It doesn't really work outside.
Right.
Another one of great tool that I like using is the dowsing rods, because they used to use them back then to find water, and so they do work weird around water, so it's kind of easier to use them inside. But the older spirits like to use the more not as much technology things,
Right,
so you
makes
can
sense.
connect with older things. And you basically just stand there with the rods. You gotta stand like as still as you can, and I shake a lot, so I like to stand against a wall. And like, so you'll ask a question, cross the rod if yes, uncross if no. Those are pretty cheap. I think we got ours for like $15. And
Oh wow.
yeah, I think you can find them at any ghost hunting spot. Like they're pretty,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, that's awesome, Olivia. We appreciate you coming on the show today.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We have a very courageous young lady, Sophie, that has agreed to stop by and share her story. Go with them on a lot of their expeditions, including last night till 4 a.m, right?
Yes.
Do you have a story for us?
I do.
Can't wait to hear. So tell us what you experienced.
So last night we went to Fairfield, and like Olivia was talking about, the doll room. And so kids like to, that's the doll room. That's their playroom and stuff. That's where the mothers were when they raised them and helped them. So we were in there. We were kind of just talking, setting up. And then me and Olivia were like, how about we just lay on the floor? Because, the kids like to run around. They will probably run around us. So we were just doing that. And then we really wanted to be there at the witch's house, like 3 a.m., where usually all the paranormal happens. But
Really wanted to be there for the scary stuff.
Well-
Didn't want to miss that.
yeah, Olivia
You guys have some.
and Olivia on a spirit box. Well, it was with Stephanie. Her spirit box said Olivia's name, told her that Olivia needs to go to, like, it wanted her to go to the doll room. It wanted her to be there for some reason. So we're like, okay, how about we just go there at 3 a.m.? Like I said, that's where all the paranormal stuff happens, what people say. And really, it kind of is true. And we were there, like I said, we were laying on the floor. It was just a weird feeling, too. The spirit box was just going crazy. There's people talking on and off. There was a bunch of activity. Like, you could hear footsteps just running and walking. And at one point, it just got super quiet. And next thing you know, you just hear little footsteps going up the hallway. And just, like, it's...
Last night you told us about the sounds. Many sounds. Did you see anything?
Oh, yeah.
What did you see?
A lot of shadows and stuff. There's 2 men there.
Stop
Too.
not scared. By the way, how old are you?
12.
None of this scares you. Oh, it's children hear them, see the shadows moving.
Yeah.
During the, what do you call it? The witch's hour. You're there at 3 a.m. The witch's hour. Crazy stuff happens.
Yeah.
Not unnerving enough.
I mean, it's nerving, but knowing when you have a big group by you, that you're like,
59 years old. I would have left after 5 minutes of it.
it was terrifying, but at the same time, you just gotta do it. Yeah, you just gotta do it.
And you've been doing this for how long with your friend?
This is probably my first year doing it.
Yeah,
So-
you obviously enjoyed. You wouldn't keep going back. It's somewhat terrifying, as you said, but not to the point that you still think it's worth it to go back.
Yeah.
Continue to do it.
Mhm.
Props to you. That's awesome.
I think
When you tell your friends some of these stories, what a typical reaction do you get?
like, oh, that's crazy. Like it's like they don't believe it. Like my dad, he doesn't believe a single word.
No.
He's like, I'm 34. Like I've never seen a ghost. Like I don't believe you. And I'm like, well, you don't believe. And mostly when people don't believe, it won't happen. So if you believe in something, it's most likely gonna be out there. It's most likely gonna happen.
Just for clarification, when you say if you don't believe it, probably won't happen. Do you think if your dad was with you last night, would he have heard and saw the same things you guys did?
Most likely with the energy that all of us had, most likely. But I don't know because he wasn't there. I really don't know. Probably not.
Want to get in there just one time?
Yes, I would.
Yeah.
Anywhere,
It's
yes.
nothing. I mean, as a kid, it would have to be hold your dad.
Yeah. He would probably make up an excuse, but I think he would be freaked out.
Maybe one of these days we can get him to go back down. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks again. We certainly appreciate you stopping by and sharing your story. And you have an awesome day. For those that listen to us normally, 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were talking to Philip and Amber Crank. And the story that she's going to tell you is eerily similar to what Amber tells on the show. And yeah, we look forward to hearing it. So sorry to have to ask you to repeat it, but tell us what happened. Tell us what.
All right. So we go on hunts. I'm part of Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal. So we go on hunts periodically, and we went to the Ridges. The Ridges is an old asylum. It's now part of Ohio University. So you can only really go on the grounds. There's a lot of old cemeteries there. So while we were there, we went out to the one of the cemeteries. I'm from a big military background. So I went out, and when we got there, Danny and not myself, we went to all the graves and thanked them for their service. Because back in the day, back then, they would put them into these homes because they have PTSD. They didn't understand it. So there was really nothing that he couldn't have gotten help for, but that's where he was. So we're doing some more investigations, and there's another cemetery down off the hill. So you go down a couple steps, and then there's like a little wooden bridge and steps. There's a couple older graves over there. So we go over there. Didn't get too awful much. Saw a couple like orbs or shadows down there. So we went back up to the top of the hill. While we're sitting up there, across our spirit box, we get Tom. Tom is one of the soldiers that we found out later on. Danny and that's buried there. Yeah, he's buried there. And he was there to protect us. We could see some of the shadow people down along the edges of the woods right there. And I think he's still on patrol. He's still there making sure everybody's okay. So Danny witnessed while he was there, and Livy and I actually walked down there, and we were near where the flag was standing. There's multiple flags there because people go there and they'll put flags where they know they were confirmed soldiers. Because there's a lot of them there that were soldiers that have not been confirmed yet. There's a lot of unmarked graves there as well. So anytime I go to a cemetery, I try to make homage to that. I think that he felt respected and seen at the same time, which even if they've passed, I believe that they deserve that closure and to know. But now every time we go down there, he just kind of follows us and he walks with us, and we make sure we go by and say hi to Tom.
Started telling us what Danny.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you can say.
Yeah.
So-
So Danny saw the flag standing up. So it was literally like you were holding it straight out and had wind blowing at it. And then the other ones, it's the only flag there that was moving. All the other ones were sitting there still as could be. No wind whatsoever out there that day. And then we were down there. And so he came down to where we were, because where he was, they got a stick figure on an SLS camera. So right by that flag. So, and it looked and appeared the way that it looked on the SLS camera, that something was holding that flag out like that. So he was like signifying. And then he went and he moved the brush, and there was Tom's grave. So he was letting us know. That was our confirmation. So we got him coming through the spirit box. You could kind of feel somebody was there, and you got a safe feel, because you learn to listen to your feelings.
You guys got the exact opposite.
Sometimes when you think it's ominous or foreboding, though, you're just picking up on the emotions.
It could be an internal fear attack.
Yeah. In places like that, there's a lot of sadness, confusion, fear, and
With
anger.
all that being said, you guys told us about an event you had last night.
Yes.
All of you. 2 young daughters. All of you guys experience things that if I experienced 1/10 of it, I would leave immediately.
Yeah.
And you said, as you've been doing it a little over a year
Yes.
so far, it's never gotten to the point where you needed to leave.
No. So I'm good. Right. So they don't want you there. I tell people all the time, ghost hunting is like fishing.
Not for me.
Yeah. Ghost hunting is like fishing. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And it's not every time. So it's not like what you see on TV. Because it's not always like that. Sometimes we go and we'll go to the same place that we got a bunch of activity and we get nothing.
It's not like a restaurant. You don't walk in and pick out the menu and order what you want.
Yeah. But they just, sometimes they don't want to be bothered. But anytime you go in there, they will tell you to leave. And a lot of people take that as a sign and they just kick up and go. But if you stay and you talk to them, a lot of times you'll get them to talk. Last night we got knocks and we got, we actually have to go through some of the footage to see exactly everything we got, but we've got a lot of pictures. We've got stagnant cameras, and that'll be up on our Facebook and TikTok later.
Facebook, is it short enough that you say it?
It's Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal, and the same thing for our YouTube and TikTok.
Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal.
Yep. Sleuth like a detective. Yeah.
Absolutely appreciate you taking your time to stop and share your story. We appreciate it. One last question I want to ask.
Mhm.
Whenever you tell your story, so this or any of them, what one thing do people typically misunderstand, get wrong? What one thing would you like to correct?
I think everybody thinks innately that anything that's spiritual is negative, and that's not the case. There's so many times where everywhere we are, no matter where you are, there's a spirit. There's a spirit here somewhere with us. They walk the walkways, they walk the paths. You don't see them, you don't feel them. Sometimes they're just trying to live their afterlife and they just want to be left alone. But the thing is us as adults, we don't see it and feel it. And that's because we've been closed off. If you look at a kid, you can walk down the street and a kid will look through a window, there's nothing in there, and they see something. It's because there's something there. They see it.
But I think it's not fear. They learn it from the adults. You mentioned yourself, you've got older children at home that are afraid to go. Your younger ones would because they've not been taught to fear it yet.
Yep.
So,
Well, us as parents, we don't want our kids to be scared. So we'll tell them that monster in the closet isn't real. But that monster in the closet could very well be real. And it could have just been a little boy that wanted to play, and needed help to move on. So it's our job. And that's what we take into it to try to help these spirits be able to move on and get their story passed on. And that's what we try to do.
right? If it tells me to leave, I'm leaving. But we're glad that people are like you who do have the nerve to stick around and find out, which from our people we talk to, that's usually when great communication happens, is when you are willing to stick around and say, hey, we're not here to yeah. This is what we're doing. This is how we're here. I've heard that when you get them to open up and you talk to you.
So we get a lot of people that are scared to go, and they go with us, and they seem to get some bravery being with us because we're able to stay with it, and you know, that helps. And then they're able to see it. We'll take skeptics too. We do ghost hunts and take all kinds and try to let them see that we would take you. Yeah, we would take you on.
Thanks again. Thanks so much. We appreciate you sharing your story.
Hello, guys. Today we are here with Danny from Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what they do, where they're located, and maybe give us a spooky story or two. Danny, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Great, man. Great. So tell us what you do and where you do it.
Well, let's see. I'm an HVACR technician by trade, but I've been dabbling in ghost hunting since 1997 with my brother. You know, my kids were kind of interested in it. We went out to Gettysburg and they fell in love with it, so we started buying equipment, and we've been doing it for 3 years now. We've been on social media for a year. Basically, we find places to go investigate just for fun, and then we do have customers that call us to come help them out with ghosts and whatnot in their homes.
Oh, sweet.
People call us Ghostbusters, which is not accurate. We don't bust ghosts. We don't force ghosts to leave. We find solutions to misunderstandings so people can cohabitate with the entities that are in their home.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting in and of itself. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So, where exactly are you? Primarily in Ohio? Or?
We are based out of Logan, Ohio.
Okay.
We do travel Michigan, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky,
That's
and we're planning on Indiana here soon. If we get to a point where ghost hunting makes more money and I have to do my job less, then we'll do more travel.
Oh, absolutely. I get that. That's, we do the podcast. I'm a realtor by trade. So
Yeah.
we know how that is. We kind of
Yep.
get a little freedom with our schedule, but we have to work really hard when we do that to make up for the time. So I get it. So, again, you're Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal,
Yep.
and we'll link to all your social media to get your word out. But tell us about a particularly scary story that you've dealt with.
Well, see, I don't scare very easy, so
I can tell that about very even keel.
I grew up in an old school. We lived with my grandpa, and it was outside of Nelsonville, Ohio. I remember being 4 or 5 years old. They put me and my 2 older brothers in a room together, and almost every night about 10 o'clock, our beds would violently shake and stuff would be thrown around our rooms. And I remember my brothers would always run out of the room. And I was terrified and frozen in bed. And I would just lay there and sit through it and let it happen. And it's just kind of like, anxiety or fear. If you sit in it for long enough, you kind of get used to it. It's not as bothersome. So, that's where I started, just a little kid. So I don't usually get too scared, because there's things that always give you chills and whatnot. But
I had a story from a guy just a little while ago that actually, I'm like you, very even keeled and pretty open minded about things. But his story raised the hair on my arms, and it wasn't a scary story. It was his grandfather was walking home, and he passed his friend on the way, and his friend didn't talk to him. So while his friend lived between where he was and his house, so he just stopped in and he asked his wife and said, "Hey, is Don okay?" And she's like, "I just passed him on the street and didn't say anything." And she's like, "Are you crazy? Don's in there asleep." And they go in there and Don had passed away. So that was one of those experiences that I find very real.
yeah.
You see a lot of stuff on TV and it's like,
I've actually heard that story a lot, though.
Really?
People who someone passed and they didn't realize. I was actually told one this morning, and the lady told me that, he didn't get along with his oldest son at all, and he had passed away in his home and no one knew. Well, the son was across town in his house, and all of a sudden, the dad was in the son's bedroom, and just gave him a big smile, and he said he felt love, and then his dad disappeared, like right in front of him.
oh, geez.
And so they tried to check on the dad and found out he had passed away. was in his house on his own. Um, yeah, but I mean, if you think about it, we're all part of our ancestors, and we all like. I know, I love my kids, and I could never leave this realm unless
Right.
I told them that I loved them and said goodbye. So it does make sense. I mean, our body's like a car, but we're the soul piloting it. The soul
Right.
is immortal. So
That makes sense. I've heard that story a lot.
a lot.
My
It's
mom's
crazy.
best friend, when her mom passed, same deal. You know, she was woken from the bed. Mom's at the foot of the bed, smiles, and it, turns to vapor basically.
Yeah.
And she knew. She didn't even have. I mean, she got up and she did the thing, but she knew. She didn't, and it was very calming, I think, for her anyway. So, what is your all's next big event? Can you? A lot of the things that you guys do, you can't say, and that's
Our next big event is actually going to be in 2 weeks. We like to team up with another group that actually helped us get started. Their name's Hidden Marietta. They're out of Marietta, Ohio. They have an event on Blennerhassett Island, and we attend every time they have it. We absolutely love it. It's like pretty quiet, like beautiful, peaceful island, but it's also very active. It's got a lot of history, both Native American and American history there.
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, when ghosts reach out, when spirits reach out to you or to your group, is it a don't forget about us? Is it a this happened to us? Is it a you know what I'm saying?
It's really different because you have, there's two main types of hauntings. We have what's called a residual haunting, and that's kind of like an echo through time. So we've gone to Gettysburg, and we've talked to soldiers who are still fighting the war. Like, and it's not that they're stuck in this thing. Like, it's just an echo. They can't interact any more than what they do, and they do the same thing every day because either they're stuck in that trauma or it's just an echo, like everything else echoes. I think we look at time as a line, and I don't think it's a line. I think it's a spiral, and we're a wavelength on it. And sometimes those wavelengths can intersect each other, and we can hear an echo.
Right.
We've also got what we'll call an intelligent haunting. So a good example is this: our first trip to Fairfield Infirmary. It was just me and my daughter Olivia. We had 3.5 hours there. And this is a public event, so it was open to everybody, and there were multiple people there. So not something I was expecting. We had more activity in that 3 hours.
Sounds like a helicopter's gonna land on her head. I apologize.
We had more activity in 3 hours than we've had in most sites like overnight.
Wow.
So we saw poltergeist activity, stuff being moved on its own. We caught a full figure that then phased out through a wall on thermal imaging. We had multiple hits on our SLS cams. But what really got me was me and my daughter were looking for room 322. There's 3 hallways. We get in this hallway. Must be another accident.
Must be. Sorry about that.
We go down our first hallway, and we can't find 322. When we go down the next hallway, and we can't find 322. We found every number on either side of it. So we turned down this third short little hallway, and you can see the end of it. It doesn't really look like there's any rooms down there. And we're talking, me and my daughter, about how we're lost. So, this is all on our Facebook Live broadcast from the day.
I'll link to that at the.
So there's a point where she says, I don't know where we're going. We caught an EVP as soon as she said that, a whisper that said, to the right. We were looking for what happened to be the very next room on the right. So something was following us. It understood what we were saying. It knew what room number we were looking for, and it knew how to direct us to it. So it was intelligent. It could interact with us. It was in real time. We couldn't see it. We could feel it, because we all have that intuition in that sense. But we couldn't see it and we couldn't hear it. But then when I was reviewing footage, like, oh my God, it was giving us directions.
Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah, when it's, it makes your spine tingle a little bit, but it's also, it's amazing. And that's the reason we should continue to do this, because there's something intelligent there that we are not acknowledging.
Right.
Now, whether it's someone that's passed or maybe maybe it's someone's errant subconscious that got picked up. It's still something we don't understand.
Right.
You know.
That's the thing. Sure. Man, I appreciate you spending a little time with us today.
I absolutely appreciate you taking your time with us as well.
Get all your stuff on our when we post the episode. We
Mhm.
definitely get all your stuff online. And for those out there, it is Spiritual Sleuths Paranormal.
And Jerry, if you can't see the light,
Be the light.